Have the unions made an existential error here?
I think they've been conned. I think they've been set up. I think it's quite clear this company prepared for this conflict quite well. They're bringing in petrol in tankers which are going into the tanks in Grangemouth instead of petrol going out of the tanks at Grangemouth.
The company made it clear, if you can't agree to this new deal, which will bring 300 million in new investment to keep Grangemouth viable, then it's off.
The difficulty was the way they did it. I think I've never seen a negotiation like this, and I've represented this place for 21 years, and we've lost thousands of jobs. Remember, there used to be 5,000, then it was 2,500 when I came. It's now down to 1,300.
That's true of all petrochemical work.
Exactly. And the people negotiated this. They saw those hits. They took the. I remember the $10 challenge when crude was only getting $10. Now it's $113. It's the opposite way around. That basically the feedstock is hugely expensive, and the union said they're willing to negotiate all of this. Let's go to us and negotiate. We'll give you a no-strike agreement, not just till the end of the negotiations, but as long as it takes. And I think that's a very good deal. What they wouldn't do is withdraw this ultimatum. If you'd seen the letter, Andrew, it was outrageous.
No, I've seen the letter.
Said to people, you know...
But the company's losing £150 million.
They're losing this because, mainly at the moment, because they have two problems. One is they're paying huge amounts for the feedstock, and the refinery is losing money hand over fist. At one time, I was told last year they lost £110 million on the refinery. The other thing is they're locked into a deal that BP skillfully made them sign when they bought the plant to say they'll take all the gas that comes off. They clean up basically the crude oil, and they take all the gas and they put it into now a gas cracker called the KG cracker. They've got to take all of that to 2017. It's now basically full of about 10%.
So it's a basket case. It's a basket case.
It's not a basket case, because what they're doing in Norway and what they're going to do in Grangemouth and what they were asking for a loan guarantee from the government for, which I supported, and money from the Scottish Government, was to bring in ethane from the States, which would be 50% of the cost of our present feedstock. And they said to me, in 2022 and beyond, there is a lot of money to be made here, but they wanted to take £50 million out of that plant. Now, they're talking not just about the workers, it's talking about shutting the naphtha plant, shutting the butadiene plant, etc., etc.
I know, look, you can get into all the detail. The fact is they want to bring ethene from the States because it's a lot cheaper. At the moment, they're stuck with a very expensive feedstock. Now, it's a standoff, but to do that was going to cost £300 million in new investment to build the port facilities to bring in this ethane from the United States, where it is a lot cheaper, and they wanted new conditions and terms to go ahead. The union said no, and it seems like this petrochemical plant is going to close unless someone else comes to buy it. Who's going to buy it?
I think that's still a prospect, a serious prospect. I think it's a serious prospect. I think anyone who looks at this, the figures that ran out for me said 2022 we break even, we then have 10 years to run of an ethane contract where we'll print money. Well, I think the chemical industry is still viable. Let me just finish, Andrew. 30% of the ethylene that goes down the pipeline for the UK plastics and chemical industry comes from Grangemouth. They're just going to turn that tap off. It means there is a demand for...
But there's a world surplus of ethylene, and it can be made a lot more cheaply elsewhere than it can in Grangemouth. Now, I ask you again, if you think someone else can buy this, give me a name.
Yes, I can't give you a name. I don't know who's in the financing industry.
Well, let me give you two names of some of the biggest petrochemical companies in the world and tell you why they're not going to do it. Dow Chemical, one of the biggest in the world, big producer of ethylene, reinvesting all its money in the United States because energy prices there are a third cheaper than they are here. BASF, the biggest petrochemical company in the world, German, has told the German government, unless energy prices come down, we will move to America as well. So who would buy Grangemouth in these world conditions?
Well, I think at the moment we have to look at whether the Secretary for Finance of the Scottish Government said he's looking to find new buyers. Now,
well, we know that, but I'm trying to find out who.
Dow is not in that business in Grangemouth. It's in plastic additives, actually, and they get their butadiene from Ineos, which will cease as soon as they shut this plant down. So there are problems there.
Anywhere.
But the biggest problem for us is, do we actually say that because of the decision of this company not to negotiate, because you said that it wasn't a question of sharing the future, it was a case of we want all of this for us after 2022. Now, it seems sensible to me if it takes to 2023 to 2024 to pay back their debt and then they make a lot of money, they should share it with the people in the company. Now, did they set out to do this because they get beaten in 2008? If that's the reason, that's a very, very dangerous way to run a company.
Will there be calls to nationalise it?
Well, I don't think there's going to be a call from this present government to nationalise it.
I wasn't thinking of that. I was thinking of your party.
I think the Scottish government are the people who are saying they're looking for a different
So you
buyer.
could lumber the taxpayer with this loss-making
I don't think it's a loss-making in the long term, Andrew. This is the company. They briefed me for an hour and a half about how they would make all this money. They seem to want to also beat the union down, and that's not a good way to go forward. Surely this is not, in the 21st century, are we really wanting to have a situation where you have to beat the workers down and make people hate you as your employer just to get more profit more quickly?